Russia and China has an unlimited friendship. And at the same time, China seeks to play a balanced role in this. They see, from what I've read from your work, is that you see yourself as a mediator between two friends. One is your friend, and one is your largest trading partner. Ukraine is the friend. Ukraine is the trading partner, and Russia is the friend. And in that case, is China's kind of unwillingness to condemn Russia something that that's harming its reputation as a peacemaker. What do you think about that critique?
Well, I think China has condemned Russia in its own way, because soon after the invasion, China has talked about respect of sovereignty. So that is Chinese way of saying you are not respecting sovereignty of another nation, right? So China did not say, okay, you are, invading my country. This is a violation of sovereignty. But China called for respect of sovereignty. That is the Chinese way of criticizing Russia, because as you have pointed out, that China and Russia's relationship is good. Yeah, but although people would sometimes, talk about how this partnership is unlimited, but I believe that China also have some bottom lines, which are truly, tested in this war. Yeah, for example, this is not one of the lines. Yeah, Iran give drones. Yeah, North Korea give ammunitions and missiles, but China did not give any military aid to Russia. Some people talking about it. Some people speculate on it. Yeah, but it turned out to be not true. If China did that, it would not go uncovered. So, and China warned against any possible use of nuclear weapons. Yeah, so I think people forgot this, because this kind of inaction from Chinese side is very much like oxygen in the air. Yeah, you would only realize it until you don't have it. China's contribution in this war is that it's not throwing wood into the fire. Yeah, just imagine if China really stand on Russian side. This is the dawn of the Third World War there.
Yeah. Then in that case, yeah, I guess the question would then be, why do you think China does not take a more I guess a more assertive stance in that case? For example, in Singapore, our government here, they take the view that this should be condemned, and it's something that we even put sanctions on the Russians for. Whereas China, it's much more subtle in the way you communicate your disagreement. What do you think explains this difference?
Well, because China is first of all a much bigger country than Singapore, and besides, China and Russia are largest neighbors toward each other, and there are actually some unpleasant time in our history. So now that period was gone. Therefore, we have to take a very good care of this relationship. Yeah, because it matters tremendously to us. Besides, of course, there are also tactical considerations. For example, if you just condemn Russia, like the West has hoped for, yeah, would the West, the whole West would probably give you standing ovation, right? Yeah, but then the question is, would your relationship with the United States really improve? I don't think so. Yeah, they will just come back to you as a competitor the next day. You won't change this kind of China-U.S. relationship.
Do you see China being a possible peacemaker in this conflict, other than the fact that it doesn't throw wood into the fire, or you think that this is actually probably the maximal limit that it can operate within this conflict?
I think China can make some further contributions, depending on how the situation, changes. For example, yeah. So we don't know how long this war will last, but no war will last forever. So definitely there would be a time when a ceasefire would become possible, right? Yeah, and then if this ceasefire, becomes formalized, it might be what people call the armistice. So I believe China's role in spite of its proposal already made, quite a few proposals, actually China's role will just come at a second stage or third stage. That is, at the first stage, the most useful conversation is between Moscow and Washington. I don't believe that it's really a conversation, between Moscow and Kiev. So it is the United States that is holding the key, and President Putin that is holding the key, who is holding the key. So let them talk. Yeah. But then, you see, after this kind of a talk, I think President Putin has one bottom line. That is, he wants full control of the 4 oblasts that are already written into Russian constitution as Russian territory. So right now you would see, a news flying around every day. But I believe this is his bottom line. They would not be really, really serious in any negotiations. Yeah, even if we talked about bomb them, until he has full control of the 4 regions. But let's assume, even if he has full control of the 4 regions, it's not a kind of a peace forever, because if Ukrainians are not happy, they could turn the disputable Ukrainian territory into battlefields like those we have seen in Afghanistan, right? They would have guerrilla warfare. So there's no guarantee that the Russians can lay back and sleep. Yeah, and besides, Ukraine is supported by the whole West, right? So then why do I say that China's real role could come later? For example, if there is a ceasefire, then the question is who is going to guarantee this ceasefire, right? Ukraine is afraid of Russia, and Russia is also afraid of Ukraine that is backed by the West. So they need, external actors, players, who can say, okay, this is a deal. We are the guarantors. Yeah. So then China could be one of them. And this is exactly what happened. Yeah. In 1990, when Ukraine decided to give up nuclear weapons. Yeah. But unfortunately, this kind of guarantee actually failed. But there is still a possibility that this may come back again in this form. The second thing is, if peacekeepers are needed, certainly China is most suitable, to send the troops along with other countries. China may not be the only countries, because there's no need for China to be the only country. But China is one of the P5 country. The largest troop contributing country of the P5 and the second largest donor of peacekeeping fund. So China can take the lead. You remember, Ukraine president, Polish prime minister, British prime minister, French president all talk about peacekeeping. But none of the proposals would actually work because Russia would not accept NATO's role in Ukraine. So the best formula, in my mind, is China takes the lead, followed by other contributing countries like India. India is also a large contributor of peacekeeping, plus some other countries from global south and a few countries of non-NATO European countries. Why is that? Because this is the war in the heartland of Europe. So Europe should also have its representative, but not NATO countries.